Hi everybody and welcome to a Grimdark Future Battle Report. Havoc forces versus Prime Brothers and Battle Sisters. The forces of Havoc had launched their heavy attack on Crapus 4. The Prime Brothers and their allies fought back, and after days of battle, with severe casualties, the two sides met in a final battle in the very center of the planet's once glorious capital, Las Algatin. Havoc commanders Kaligor and Azhaak had to be stopped, and Prime Brothers' Supreme Command trusted Lieutenant Gabriel with the task. Once again, High Sister Adelia and her battle sisters stood at his side. This could be the final showdown between arch-enemies, as well as the battle that could decide the fate of Crapus 4. Leading the forces of Havoc is Plague Champion Kaligor. He's a hero with a tough value of 3 and a chosen veteran that gives him +1 to hit rolls in melee and shooting. He's armed with Plasma Pistol and Energy Axe. And with him he has 10 Plague Zombies. They are slow and undead and they are armed with claws. And then a unit of Plague Destroyers. They have the ambush ability and a tough value of 3. They are armed with 2 storm rifles and 1 plague sprayer, and they have plague sword, energy axe, and energy fists. Second in command is Lord Azhaak of the Change Brothers. He has stealth, tough value of 3, and he is a psychic. He is armed with hexed pistols, and he has a unit of Change Destroyers, also with a tough value of 3, ambush, and stealth. They have 2 storm rifles and 1 reaper cannon, and they are armed with energy swords. And finally, a unit of 5 regular Change Brothers. One of them is a psychic. They have 4 heavy rifles and 1 heavy machine gun and 5 close combat weapons. And they also have the stealth ability. And leading the Prime Brothers we have Lieutenant Gabriel. He is fearless, has a tough value of 3. He has shield wall and war chant that will give him 1 extra attack when charging. He is armed with a plasma pistol and then he has a relic sword. With him he has a unit of Prime Brothers. They are armed with auto rifles and one of them has a grenade mod. They have 4 close combat weapons and 1 energy hammer. And then also an assault squad of 5 Prime Brothers. They are armed with 4 close combat weapons and 1 energy sword. They have 4 heavy pistols and 1 plasma pistol. And then they have medical training that will allow them to regenerate on a roll of 5 or 6. Then we have 3 Prime Bikers. They have a tough value of 3 and they are fast. They have 3 close combat weapons, 3 heavy pistols and also 3 twin auto rifles on the bikes. Once again, High Sister Adelia is in front of the Battle Sisters. She has devout celestial infantry that will give her +1 to hit rolls in melee and shooting, armed with heavy rifle and crossbow mod and energy sword. And she has a unit of 5 Battle Sisters also with devout and celestial infantry, 4 close combat weapons, 1 energy sword, 4 heavy rifles, and a heavy machine gun and a plasma mod. And finally, Priestess Melissa with devout, furious celestial infantry, and she is a psychic. And the armies will deploy with the Havoc forces in Section B and the Prime Brothers and Battle Sisters in Section A. Let's proceed to a top view of the battlefield here with 4 objectives in this Seize Ground mission, and each objective will give 1 victory point to whoever controls it at the end of turn 4. The Havoc forces have chosen side missions Headhunter and Attrition, and the Prime Brothers and Battle Sisters have chosen Headhunter and Linebreaker. Each side mission will give an additional victory point if they are completed. Kaligor and the Plague Zombies have deployed in the right side of the battlefield. And closer to the middle we have the Plague Destroyers in a central position here in cover, and then Lord Azhaak and his Change Brothers have deployed to the left. The unit of Change Destroyers have not deployed yet. They will use their ambush ability and show up later in the battle. On the other side of the battlefield, the Prime Bikers have deployed to the left of the battlefield. And then we have the Battle Sisters and High Sister Adelia, as well as the Priestess in the center of the battlefield, mostly in cover behind this building. The Assault Squad has also deployed in cover close to Lieutenant Gabriel, and on the right flank and close to the first objective, the Prime Brothers. The fate of Crapus 4 is on stake, so let's roll off. Red dice for the Havoc forces, black dice for the Prime Brothers and Sisters. And the Prime Brothers and Battle Sisters will activate first. First unit to activate is the Battle Sisters, and they move to and up on top of this building where they will be in cover. And from here they can see the unit of Plague Zombies, and they can shoot with their heavy rifles and the heavy machine gun. A total of 7 shots hitting on 4s because they are in cover, but they have +1 because of Celestial Infantry. And a total of 3 hits make the target, and now the Plague Zombies will have to defend on a 6. And 2 failed defense rolls and 1 that actually is blocked. So 2 hits going through, 2 Plague Zombies down if they do not regenerate on a roll of 5 or 6. And they don't. So 2 Plague Zombies are removed. Next unit to activate is Plague Champion Kaligor himself. He has relatively short-ranged weapons, so he cannot shoot or hit anything, but he can move closer to the heat of the battle. The Prime Bikers move forward, and they capture the first objective here. But they are also in a position where they can see and shoot the same unit of Plague Zombies. They are not in range with their pistols, but they can fire 12 shots hitting on 4s with their twin auto rifles. And 5 shots hit the target. The Plague Zombies again have to defend on a 6, and they fail each and every one of them. But again, it ain't over till it's over. They can regenerate, and it looks like one of the Plague Zombies managed to put himself together. So 4 Plague Zombies are shot down by the Prime Bikers. And the Plague Zombie unit is now below half strength. But since they don't make morale tests because they are undead, they roll for every model in the unit, and on a 1 or a 2, they are destroyed. And here we have 1 roll of 1, and that means 1 Plague Zombie leaves the group. 3 left. On the left flank of the battlefield, the Change Brothers advance. They stay in cover behind this crate, but from here they can possibly see and target enemy units. And the unit they have in mind is the Battle Sisters on the top of the building. First, the Psychic tries to cast the Loyalty spell, where he can choose a friendly unit, and that unit will get regeneration for the next round. And he tries to cast the spell on his leader, Lord Azhaak. He will need a 5. And he fails. So instead they are in range to fire 4 heavy rifle and 3 heavy machine gun shots hitting on 4s at the Battle Sisters. And quite a lot of hits here. 5 hits, and they are all AP1, so the Battle Sisters will need defense rolls of 5 to block them. And 2 of them are blocked, but 3 Battle Sisters are shot down. They need to take a morale test now because they are below half strength, and with a 2 they fail and are pinned. High Priestess Melissa activates, and she begins with a spell. She will cast Holy Tears on 2 friendly units, but she will need a 3, and that means she fails. Holy Tears would have given poison to the unit next time they fight. Now it's Lord Azhaak's turn to move. He advances forward behind the building here, and from here he can cast Breath of Change at the Plague Zombies needing a 3. And he succeeds, so now the Plague Zombie unit will move an extra 1 or 2 inches next time they advance or charge or rush. And then the unit of Prime Brothers advance. They seize the second objective and they are in cover behind the building here. And from that position, they can also target the unit of Change Brothers. They are out of range with the grenade mod, but they can fire 10 shots with auto rifles hitting on 5s. And a couple of hits here. Only 2 hit the target. But anyway, the Change Brothers will have to defend. The auto rifles don't have any AP, so they will defend their hits on a roll of 3 or more. So one of them is failed and 1 Change Brother goes down. The unit of Plague Zombies, or what's left of them, move slightly forward and they seize the objective and control it behind the crates here. Sergeant Gennaro and his unit of Assault Prime Brothers rush forward, and they take cover and position in the very center of the city. And next up, the Plague Destroyers. They move to the right, still in cover, but they can see and target the Prime Bikers. Luckily for the Bikers, they are out of range with the Plague Sprayer, but they can shoot 6 times with Storm Rifles. There are obstacles between them and the Bikers, so they will need force to hit. 6 shots. And 4 hits with the Storm Rifles. They are AP1 weapons. So the Prime Bikers will have to come up with defense rolls of 3 or more to avoid being hit here. And they block it all. No hits. And now the forces of Havoc have moved all their units. So left to move here is High Sister Adelia. She rushes forward in cover behind the ruined building. And the final activation of the first round is Prime Brother Lieutenant Gabriel, who also moves slightly forward and stays in cover behind this building. So this is how the battlefield looks at the end of round 1. The unit of Battle Sisters took some heavy casualties, but the Prime Brothers and Battle Sisters controlled 2 out of the 4 objectives. Objective 3 is not controlled by anybody, and the 4th objective here is controlled by the forces of Havoc. At the beginning of round 2, the unit of Change Destroyers will enter the battlefield 9 inches away from enemy units, but no one knows where. And in the lower right section of the battlefield, here they are. The unit of Change Destroyers make their ambush. They have deployed 9 inches away from any of the Prime Brother or Battle Sister units, but now they activate and they immediately charge the Prime Bikers. They attack with energy swords and they hit on 3s. And several hits here, and one of them is also a 6, and that means a rending hit. And a few misses as well here. All in all, 6 hits against the Prime Bikers. So now they have to defend. And first, defense roll for the rending hit, and it fails. So at least 1 hit is going through now. And then the 5 remaining defense rolls, it's an AP1 energy sword, so the Prime Bikers defend on a 3. So 2 more failed blocks here for a total of 3 hits. And that is enough to remove 1 of the Bikers. The 2 remaining Bikers fight back with close combat weapons. They have 6 attacks hitting on 3s. And all of them except 1 attack hits the target, so a total of 5 hits against the Change Destroyers, and they defend on a 3. and they defend most of it, but not all of it. One of the Change Destroyers takes 1 wound. And now they back off 1 inch, and the Prime Bikers will have to make a morale test because they lost the fight here. They need a 2 and they get a 6, so no problems here. The Change Destroyer's ambush brought them close to the Prime Bikers and close to 1 objective, but it also left their leader exposed because the unit of Assault Brothers are close enough to charge Plague Champion Kaligor. So Gennaro and his men charge against the enemy leader. They have 12 close combat attacks and 3 attacks with an energy sword. They all hit on 3s. And a lot of hits here. 9 close combat hits, 2 hits with the energy sword. One of them is rending, and Kaligor failed that one. The other one is AP 1, so he will defend with a 4. And that one also failed, so now the rest of the hits will be blocked with a defense roll of 3. And that is nowhere near enough. He takes several hits. The forces of Havoc decided to ambush this round, but Kaligor himself suffered a surprise ambush attack. And now he has to regenerate 5 hits if he has to survive. He takes 1 hit at least, because the rending hit cannot be regenerated, but he has a chance to regenerate the 5 remaining hits here. With a 5 or a 6, he will make it. And he regenerates 1 of them, but that means he takes 4 hits, and that is the end of Kaligor. And that earned the Prime Brothers 1 victory point for Headhunter. But now the Plague Destroyers smell revenge. They advance forward, still in cover behind this wall, but in point-blank range of the assault squad. They begin with 6 storm rifle shots hitting on 3s. And 4 of them hit the assault squad. And then the Plague Sprayer, also hitting on 3s with 6 shots. And for each roll of 6, the shot will be poisoned and multiplied with 3 and 4 6s here and 2 regular hits. And all of these 6s will be multiplied with 3. That's an awful lot of hits. So first, the assault squad will try to block the storm rifle hits. They will need 3s here. And they fail 1. So far, 1 hit is going through. The storm rifles are AP 1, and the Plague Sprayer hits are AP nothing. But there are a lot of them. First, the 2 regular ones. And they are defended. And then the remaining poisonous hits here, 12 defense dice, and I can spot several rolls of 1, and that means that the defense has failed. So let's count how many hits. The assault squad is hit 6 times, and that is enough to destroy the unit, but they have a final chance with their medical training. They can regenerate on a roll of 5 or 6. And 1, 5, and 1, 6 here. So 4 hits still go through, but it leaves 1 remaining assault prime brother. But seeing his unit disappear around him, he has to make a morale test, and he will fail with a 1 because he's fearless, and he fails, so he is pinned. Now the unit of regular Prime Brothers advance. They move forward, still in cover behind the ruined building, but from this position they are in shooting range, once again, of the Change Brothers. They fire 10 shots with auto rifles and 1 with the grenade mod, because it's now within the 12 inches range. They hit on 5s because of the cover and the stealth ability, but still a lot of hits. No less than 6 shots hit the target. The Change Brothers now need defense rolls of 3 or more. And that's a really poor defense roll. They only managed to block 2 out of the 6 hits, so they are hit 4 times. And with 1 Change Brother already down, that's enough to take out the entire unit. With Kaligor out of the battle, Lord Azhaak is now the commander of the forces of Havoc, and he decides to take on the unit of Prime Brothers on his own, and also guard the objective. He tries to cast the spell Inferno, and he needs a 4, so he fails that one. So he will guard the objective, but cannot do anything further this round. Lieutenant Gabriel advances forward to get close enough to take a shot at Lord Azhaak with his plasma pistol. He will hit on a 4. But he fails with a roll of 1. The Plague Zombies charge forward against Gennaro. He is pinned, so he will be able to defend himself. But let's see if the zombies can take him completely out of the game. 6 attacks with claws. And 3 hits. They are AP nothing, so even though he is on the ground, he will defend them with a roll of 2. And he gets them all, of course. He is also able to fight back even though he is pinned, but he will need a roll of 6 to hit the zombies. Three attacks, and 1 of them hit the target. So the zombies will have to defend on a 6, and that's a fail, so 1 zombie will go down unless it regenerates, and it doesn't. So in the end, even though he was pinned, the zombies lost the battle and will make a morale test, which they pass just fine. And then they back off. The pinned unit of Battle Sisters get themselves together, and they are ready to activate as normal in the next round. And now it's High Priestess Melissa's turn. She moves forward and tries to cast the spell Eternal Flame against the Change Destroyers. She will need a 3 for it to go off. And she fails, otherwise they would have been hit with 5 hits. Instead, she fires her heavy pistol and she hits the target. It's an AP1 weapon, so the Change Destroyers will need a defense roll of 4. And they make it. High Sister Adelia is also nearby, and she fires 2 shots against the Change Destroyers, 1 with heavy rifle and 1 with the crossbow mod. And she will hit on a roll of 3 because of her devout and celestial infantry ability. And she hits the target with the crossbow. It's an AP1 weapon, so again they will need a 4, and with a 6 they shake off that hit as well. And now the Prime Bikers also fire their weapons. The Change Destroyers are under heavy fire now. They fire 8 shots with their twin auto rifles and 2 with heavy pistols. And they need 4s to hit because of the stealth ability. 4 hits with the twin auto rifles. They are AP nothing, so a defense roll of 3 will do the job. And 1 of them fails, so 1 additional wound to 1 of the Change Destroyers. And that concludes a highly dramatic round 2, where the Change Destroyers made their ambush against the Prime Bikers. Kaligor was surprised and taken out of the game, leaving Lord Azhaak as the commander of the forces of Havoc. The Plague destroyers immediately took their revenge and almost destroyed the unit of assault brothers. Now let's see what happens in round number 3. And also in the third round, the change destroyers will activate first. They advance a short distance, get clear of the rock and the buildings, and from here they have a clear sight at all the remaining battle sisters on the battlefield. And they decide to split their shots. The Reaper Cannon will fire 4 shots at High Priestess Melissa, and the Storm Rifles will fire 6 shots at the battle sisters, all of them hitting on 3s. So first, 3 shots from the Reaper Cannon hit the target, and the High Priestess will have to defend these. But first, the 6 shots from the Storm Rifles, and they will be hitting on 4s because of the cover. So also 3 shots go through here. All of the shots are AP1, so the Priestess will need a roll of 6 to block them. And she fails. 3 wounds, and that is enough to take her down and remove her from the battle. Now the battle sisters will defend on rolls of 5. 2 of the shots are blocked, but 1 shot hits the target and 1 more battle sister will leave. And Sister Verona will have to take a morale test, and she will pass on a 4, and that is exactly what she does. So this time she's not pinned. But Priestess Melissa was not so lucky, so she will leave the battle now. Lieutenant Gabriel is close to Lord Azhaak, and he charges. With his War Chant ability, he will have 3 attacks with his Relic Sword, and he will be hitting on a roll of 3. It's not looking good for Lord Azhaak now. And he hits twice with his Relic Sword. It's an AP2 weapon, and it has the deadly special rule. So it's not looking good for Lord Azhaak. He will need 2 defense rolls of 5 or more, otherwise he is killed. And he makes it 2 rolls of 5 exactly, and it's enough to block the hits from Lieutenant Gabriel. And now he can fight back. 2 attacks, hitting on 3s. And he hits both of them. And Lieutenant Gabriel will now defend. And he will do so with a roll of 2 or more. And both of them blocked. And then Lieutenant Gabriel will back off 1 inch. Absolutely amazing that Lord Azhaak got himself out of that heavy charge. But now he activates. He moves back and then he tries a spell. With a roll of 3, he will cast the spell Blaze that will hit Gabriel with 3 AP2 hits. And he completes the spell and 3 hits against Lieutenant Gabriel now. So that means he will need rolls of 4 to block. And he fails them all. So he is hit with 3 hits, and that is enough to blast him out of the game. Lieutenant Gabriel is down, and the forces of Havoc score 1 victory point for the Headhunter side mission. A completely unexpected outcome of this battle, but Lord Azhaak is not finished yet. He fires his hexed pistol 3 times against the Prime Brothers, hitting on 3s. So 1 hit, and that shot will be blocked with a roll of 2. So no hits against the Prime Brothers. And with Lieutenant Gabriel out of the battle, High Sister Adelia now will be in charge of the entire force. The Prime Bikers activate and they advance away from the objective. They don't want to get into close combat because they are afraid that they'll be hit back hard. Instead, they shoot the unit of Change Destroyers. They fire 8 shots with their twin auto rifles and 2 with heavy pistols. And all in all, with all being counted together here, 3 shots hit the target. The Change Destroyers will defend on a roll of 3 now. Should be possible. But at least two of them fail to block the shots. So 2 hits, that means 1 change destroyer is removed and another one will take a wound. But they're not down to half strength yet. Next up, the plague zombies decide to withdraw and guard the objective. And Sergeant Gennaro from the assault squad get back on his feet. He is no longer pinned. The plague destroyers activate next. They could charge or shoot Gennaro, but instead they move into a better position. And from this position, they will split their shots between Gennaro and the Battle Sister on the top of the building. 6 storm rifle shots hitting on 4s will target the Battle Sister. And 2 of the shots are good. And with AP1, the Battle Sister will need a roll of 5 to defend. 1 of them is good, the other one fails, and that is unfortunately enough to blast the remaining Battle Sister away. Now 6 shots with the Plague Sprayer against Gennaro, hitting on 3s, and with a roll of 6 it will be poisonous. And once again the Plague Sprayer is highly effective. 2 regular hits and 1 poisonous hit, and that is 5 hits against the remaining Prime Brother. But it is AP nothing, so he will save on a roll of 2. It should be possible, but with 2 1s here, it's maybe over. He has a chance to regenerate with his medical training, but he fails, and that is the end of Gennaro and his assault squad. The Plague Destroyers took out 2 units this turn. Things turn out in favor of the Havoc forces at the moment, but now Lord Azhaak will have to face the entire Prime Brother unit all alone, because they activate and charge him. They hit with 8 attacks from close combat weapons and 2 attacks from an energy hammer, all of them hitting on 3s, and a lot of them hit. A total of 7 hits against Lord Azhaak. Now let's see if he can survive that. They are AP nothing weapons, so he will block them with a 3. And it's looking good for Lord Azhaak here. He blocks all of them except 2. So he will take 2 wounds, but he's not down yet and he can fight back. So he immediately swings his close combat weapon, 2 attacks, hitting on 3s. And they both hit, but they will be blocked with a roll of 2 by the Prime Brothers, and no problems defending those hits. So Azhaak lost the battle and he will take a morale test with a quality of 3. And he just makes it. He will stay and fight, and the Prime Brothers back off 1 inch. High Sister Adelia turns her attention away from the Change Brothers, and she advances 6 inches, and from that position she is within 12 inches of Lord Azhaak now. She fires her heavy rifle with crossbow mod, and she hits on a 3 because of Devout and Celestial Infantry, and -1 because of his stealth ability. So the heavy rifle shot fails, but the crossbow mod hits the target, and he will now defend on a roll of 4. And he doesn't. So that was the end of Lord Azhaak. He fought bravely, but then he had enough. Taken out of the game by a precision shot from High Sister Adelia. So 1 more victory point for Headhunter goes to High Sister Adelia and her troops. After the 3rd round, the 2 sides control 2 objectives each. The forces of Havoc have completed their side mission attrition by taking out more than half of the enemy forces. The Prime Brothers and Battle Sisters have taken out both enemy commanders, earning 2 victory points for Headhunter, and the Havoc forces have taken out Lieutenant Gabriel, giving them 1 victory point. Let's go to round 4. The Plague Destroyers activate first, and they advance forward to the center of the city. And here they can see High Sister Adelia and the unit of Prime Bikers. And they are trying to target them both with their weapons. There are obstacles in the way, but they will see if they can take out both units. Plague Sprayer against High Sister Adelia. Hitting on force, 6 shot. And 2 of them hit, but they are multiplied because of the poisonous special rule. So that means a total of 6 hits against High Sister Adelia. It's AP nothing, but she will still need a 4 to defend them. So most likely she will go down. First, 4 defense dice, and 1 of them fails. And then the last 2, and that means she fails 2, but she blocks 4 of the poisonous hits. So she takes 2 wounds, but she is not finished yet. She will need to take a morale test though. She has a quality of 4. 2 wounds, and then the test. 2, she fails, and that means she is pinned. Now 6 storm rifle shots, hitting on force against the Prime Bikers. And 4 hits, and they are AP1, so the Prime Bikers need a defense roll of 3 to defend. And 2 of them are good, and 2 wounds. So let's see the unit of Prime Bikers here. 1 of them takes 2 wounds, and that means they will have to make a morale test, which they fail. So they are pinned as well. And immediately after, they activate and get themselves out of the pinned situation, but they can't do anything further. The Changed Destroyers guard the objective, and they turn around and make a final attempt to take out the Prime Bikers. So they fire 1 Reaper Cannon and 1 Storm Rifle, a total of 7 shots against the Bikers, hitting on 3s. And they hit with 5 of their shots here. And they are all AP1, so the 5 shots must be defended with a roll of 3. And the Prime Biker's armor deals with 4 of the shots, but 1 goes through, and unfortunately that means the second Prime Biker will now leave. So 1 remaining, and again a morale test is needed, and this time the remaining biker passes the test. High Sister Adelia activates, and she is no longer pinned. And the 2 remaining plague zombies really can't reach, charge, or shoot anybody, so they will stay and guard the objective. And finally, the unit of Prime Brothers activate. They advance and get closer to the unit of plague zombies, and they can target them from this position. And that is crucial to their side mission Linebreaker, because Linebreaker means that all enemy units without any tough value has to be taken out. So they need to remove the plague zombies if they want to earn a victory point for Linebreaker. And they fire everything they've got against the zombies. 10 auto rifle shots hitting on force. And in the end, only 4 of them hit the target. They have a very bad defense roll of 6, but they can regenerate. So let's see how the zombies will get out of this one. and they completely fail to block any of the hits. So they are hit 4 times, but they can regenerate with a roll of 5 or 6. And 1 is good here, but only 1, and that means 3 wounds are still going through and they are destroyed for good. They still hold the objective though. And that concludes round 4. Both sides control 2 objectives, earning them 2 victory points each. The forces of Havoc completed their side mission attrition by taking out more than half of the enemy army, and they completed 1 headhunter side mission. The Prime Brothers and Battle Sisters completed their Linebreaker mission by removing all enemy units without the tough value, and they took out 2 enemy leaders, earning them 3 victory points for their side missions. So the Prime Brothers and Battle Sisters end this battle with 5 victory points, and the forces of Havoc have earned 4. This is a Prime Brother Battle Sister victory. The remaining forces of Havoc have no leaders left, and they disappear in the stinky shadows from where they came. Prime Brothers Supreme Command immediately sends reinforcements, and they now control most of Crapus 4, mostly thanks to High Sister Adelia, but maybe they have lost patience with Lieutenant Gabriel. Thanks a lot for watching this battle report. I hope you'll join me for future bad reps.